This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Hing.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to Transformation with Tara Sutphen. Tara Sutphen is the author of Blame It on Your Past Lives and Soul Agreements. 3 audio CD series, metaphysical meditations, sourcing series, and sleep programming. Tara has also collaborated with Emmy Award-winning Shane Stanley and Marla Maples on numerous DVDs. Tara Sutphen is a master in the psychic sciences. If you'd like to find out more about Tara's work, upcoming seminars, and meditations to help you fulfill your dreams, visit her website at tarasutphen.com.
Welcome to Transformations with Tara. This is Tara Sutphen. And my guest today is Jason D. McKean. He's the wizard, producer, and a tarot reader. And we'll talk today about the full moon, which is on Sunday. It's at 22 degrees Virgo. And we'll talk a little bit about reincarnation and Jason's astrological monthly forecasts and the seminars that I'm going to be conducting in New Zealand and Australia as of next week. So welcome, Jason.
Good morning. How are you, Tara?
Good morning. Good. I'm really glad to hear Jason's voice back. A couple weeks ago, he was voiceless.
I had no voice. It seems like in LA that a lot of people have been going through this illness, this just phase of where they just lose their voice. They're coughing. They're, I don't know if it's flu or what, but I got it, and boy, oh boy, it just really gets you. And when you're in this realm of having to use your voice as a counselor, as a, someone who records, it's just like, it just puts everything on hold, and one needs to relax and do something else.
Yes. Well, I didn't catch it, and I've been around a lot of people, but I did not catch it. I'm not going to gloat or anything. I'm just going to tell you how I don't get things like this.
Yeah.
So it's a shamanic technique. And also, I don't take a lot of vitamins, but I take some vitamins, and I try to eat pretty well and try to eat regularly, not like starve myself or anything. Yes. And get plenty of sleep too. But I'm on the go. Everybody knows I'm kind of all over the place as far as I have a lot of clients and a lot of seminars. I'm always doing private sessions and private groups as well. So the thing is that, so I'm around a lot of people who, are sick, and I meditate. And how I meditate is I listen to the sound of the planet, and it's either on the surface of the earth or the core of the planet, but you make a sound just like the planet makes a sound. And so you match that sound, like it's a ring, a buzz, a hum, and you match that sound, but then you go I do it where it's almost deafening, where my body is going to resonate so amazingly with the earth and the universe that it washes out, and it just doesn't allow any sort of germs or dissension, any problems, like all the resonance with the vibration is going to come into balance. And so that's what I do. And I don't get sick. The only time I got sick is when I let my grandbaby, if she's sick, then in my face, I can't stop her from being, in my face. But
what kind of grandma would you be if you didn't let your grandma, your
granddaughter,
all over you? And, and breathe in your face.
Yeah. Right. But other than that, I never get sick.
When you say that you match the frequency, are you making an audible hum, or are you making an audible sound, or are you just
totally
energetically diving
trance.
in?
Deep trance. Yeah. Deep trance. Just allowing myself to listen to that and being a part of it. Not just listening. I'm actually feeling that I'm in that vibration, in that resonance.
And do you do that for 5 minutes, for a half an hour?
If I have a cough, like a couple, I don't know, a couple years ago, around just after Christmas or so, I'm best friends, with an anesthesiologist who I do hypnothesia with. Anyway, he said, "Oh, I'm gonna get you some antibiotics," and I was like, "No, no, no." Horrified, I'm such a horrified over any sort of things like that. So, because I barely take an aspirin, so I mean, I don't even remember when I took an aspirin. So I said, "No, I can't take any antibiotics." So I did when I was that sick where I had a cough. I did it for hours. Like I probably went to bed early, like say 7 o'clock, and did it till 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, where I just every time, I just put and the cough was gone the next day, and he was like, "Oh my God, like what are you doing?" Yeah, that was amazing. But I believe in the power of the mind, and I believe that we resonate as energy upon the earth, and that we do have that, that ability. So I just wanted to share that.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like that is the basis of a lot of, what we do is being able to make a shift from that awareness. Once someone is aware of that they have an issue or whatever, then they can move towards a solution towards it. And the mind is a powerful tool to either, get that process going. Because it's not all the mind. It's one wants to be fully on board, fully integrated within their physical self, their emotional self, their spiritual self.
Correct.
That is
a balance.
That focus of all of these parts of ourself moving towards, that which we're, looking to heal within ourselves or to build for ourselves, as far as moving towards our goals, our hopes and dreams, all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's really true. Yeah, I just and it is that resonating with your mind and your body and being connected, because a lot of people will live out their dreams and they're only in their head. To whereas you need to start moving your body, move your body, get into the motion of going forward.
I met a client the other day who she writes notes and puts them in her shoes, because the shoes or the feet, right, they symbolize action, right? As far as like when we think something and want to move towards it, it's like, we use our feet anyway, the symbology of just moving towards it, right? So she'll put her notes in her actual shoes.
Oh, that's great. I love
totally
that. That's cute. That's
totally
cute.
get it. It's like there's a card in the tarot, the Four of Pentacles, right, where there's a person who's sitting there with a pentacle on their head, their heart, and 2 at their feet. And I see that as a card of alignment, where if our head and our heart are aligned, then our actions can follow, right?
Right.
And again, the pentacles being at the feet, they represent that action of moving forward. Yes. I forget the exact what she writes to herself and puts in there, but it's most people might laugh at that. That's weird. That's silly, right? But I totally get it. Totally get it. It's like we send these messages to our body as well, about how we can motivate ourselves, and it becomes not just an energetic signal or catalyst at that point, but an actual physical one. It's like when I'm with a client, right, and they tell me their name. I might forget their name. I just in the course of the reading, but if I write it down, if I I guess bridge the mental to the physical, right, then I will totally remember it. And when someone takes that extra step to write down their goal, and do something as symbolic as putting it in their shoe, right? That
Right.
is a way of.
Well, that's an intention, no doubt.
Yeah,
But it depends on where she's going.
Perfect.
If she's going to a bar or she's going toward, working towards something, I mean, that's meaningful too, actually.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You have to.
Do you mean like going to a bar to drink?
Yeah, well, if you're being, I mean, you can be social and then you can be self-destructive. There's a fine line between some of that. Everything.
Right.
Everything. So it depends where you're going to if you want to put those intentions in.
Do you think that people that let's call it a more of a vice though, right? Like something that is self-destructive, right?
Yeah. I want conscious intention.
Do people need to reinforce that? Or is that just kind of a go-to place, right? It's like if it's like a thing that if I'm trying to kind of get outside of my normal just place of if I'm looking to grow, if I'm looking to stretch my knowledge base to move towards a goal and I haven't arrived at it, then I can totally see where one needs that encouragement and that energetic boost. But if I'm like tapping into a self-destructive part, it's like I don't know that I need to remind myself of that, because that's a pretty prevalent thing. It's like something that one is wrestling with, right? I mean, if they're saying I don't need to go to the bar, right? I don't need to drink.
Or the job I hate, because a lot of people hate their jobs.
Right.
So you would have to put that I would like to, my intention is to be above that, above reproach maybe, or above, I mean, it would have to be worded out just right, because where you're stepping would be important in my mind, my mind. And I'm a bit of a, I'm really laid back on a lot of different techniques. And, I don't think that everything has to be like right, but it has to be conscious. There's definitely a high road and a low road of everything.
Right. And usually the low road is a lot easier to take than the high road, as far as it's like we don't have to like work as hard, to take the low road.
Right. Well, sometimes, for me, I can't take the low road. The low road's really hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
When people call other people names, or, the dissension, it's never comfortable for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Any sort of real gossip or anything. It's not real, because everybody struggles. So it's, like my purpose is to like help people past that, not add more to that. Not that I need some therapy at times, because I do. But,
but you've touched upon something there about, everyone, has their struggles. And I think as counselors, it's like, we're privy to, being able to see, what people are going through on a deep level. As if you're a grocery store clerk and you ask someone how they are, they'll say, "Oh, good. How are you?" "Oh, good." And that's it, right? That's the extent of, the back and forth between people. But when they come to a psychic, a tarot reader, a counselor, right? It's like, it doesn't do just to like, "Oh, I'm doing good." It's like, no, you're not. You wouldn't be here otherwise, and so the depth of being able to see others, struggles and then how to help them get through it. You had mentioned like past life regression, right? As perhaps a tool to be able to see, what's underlying, right? What is at the core of someone's issue. And, do you find that you use that a lot with your clients, the past life regression?
Yeah, the past life regression, I use it quite a bit. People come to me for past life regression, and it's always fun. And I usually psychically tap in. So if they're really afraid of what they're seeing, or they start to go blank because of it's a painful thing, then I can usually see it. I'll ask them questions, and then they'll be like, "Yeah, that's happening." So it's interesting. And I believe that it's definitely a tool. Like, people get really excited knowing their strengths and their weaknesses.
Yes.
We don't understand sometimes why we come with different people in life. It's like, what the heck is going on? And definitely past life regression, putting you deep into trance, can help you, understand on such a conscious level, whatever it is. A lot of times reincarnation, you feel like you're making it up, but people make up real things all the time. I mean, periods of history, events that they were doing. And it's always really kind of fun to see what they were doing and why, and going for it.
And to see which aspects are affecting who they are now.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if they feel like they're making it up, it's like, those, what they're experiencing and how they've framed those experiences, how they either draw strength from the past, or if they fear the past, right? This is how, one is able to, know that they will be okay in the future, right? Because they've overcome so much from the past. Or, if there's like, experiences that they have not healed from, that they have not been able to, put into a healthy perspective, then that is the energy that is still holding them back.
Right. And there's all sorts of different reasons. I mean, it just really is interesting, a lot of the different reasons. But, like why someone is heavy, they might have starved, they might have been indulged, when it's good to eat and not be a part of kind of lower class society. They have all sorts of different things where people come up with why they do things, and in the period that they're in, and maybe just enjoying life. You never know what exactly stems from what. So I really enjoy that. Now, I contend that we have to do hypnosis to get there, because I remembered my past lives because of my near-death experience as a 6-week-old baby, and then had a surgery again where, it's taken in to surgery at 10 weeks old. So I remember all my past lives when I was very young. I mean, I remember my babyhood, and I remember all my past lives. And so they were terrifying. They're terrifying. I'm sure, my parents thought that they were putting me to, bed. And in reality, I was scared to death. I was crying, not because they were putting me to bed, but because they were, I would wake up from a dream and I would be back to where someone was chasing me, or there was problems. And, I could remember these things. I could remember really amazing things. Even when I was in Teotihuacan, years ago before, my ex-husband wrote that book, we were doing the research for it, and I had loved that lifetime, loved it. But Cheyenne had remembered that past life as a 2.5, 3-year-old. I mean, it was weird, that she remembered so much time.
And were her memories ones of enjoyment or of horror?
Well, she was in the same thing. She came to me when she was a baby and said, remember when we were buried in the big black hole? And I said, what are you talking about? And she goes, remember, Mommy, we were in the big black hole. And and it was like, what, okay, Shy, what are you talking about? So she would explain, she was trying to explain to me, and then she would say, and then the strangers, they painted everything red. And then she would say the kitties were, colors, and there was 4. And so she was trying to tell me, and there was 4 jaguar gods, and they painted the white city red in Teotihuacan. And Teotihuacan, was, nobody's really ever lived there since, place. And so and then there's a mass grave there of 200 people. And so, and the University of Arizona went to do that dig after we'd been talking about it. So it was an after the fact of her saying, yeah, we were buried in the big black hole. But I had these dreams when I have a lot of prophetic dreams, but I had this dream where I was on top of the sun pyramid, and I was a priest, and I was telling the people to go back. And,
to go back to a certain way
to go back down the pyramid, to leave, to not follow the priests, because we knew we were going to die.
Right.
Yeah. We were going to the top of the sun pyramid to pray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Cheyenne was obviously a part of that. Yeah. And would talk about that as a baby. So, and she had the same surgery as I did at 5.5 weeks as well. But she didn't die during hers. She, I was like, live. But I died during mine, and it was in for 7.5 hours, and they gave me the last rites, and they couldn't get my blood flowing. It was this whole big thing. Sent our mother home. Our poor mother. Yeah. Must have been tragic. Yeah. Yeah. So
did you say our mother this time?
I did. I was nice. I was kind of nice, Stephen. Yeah. I usually say my mother.
Yes.
When I'm speaking to all the family, she's mine.
Cut me out of the equation. My mother. She's my mother.
Mine.
Mom loves me best.
Yeah, well, we do have this whole favorite thing. She likes it, actually, but we have shirts that, I'm Mom's favorite child. and Scott usually remembers to wear his when we see our mom. And does it like Superman underneath his shirt, I'm Mom's favorite.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just rips open his top shirt there at opportune times there when he needs to suck up there.
Yeah, we all want jam and cookies. That's our big thing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then my kids want jam and cookies too. It's a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Grandma's cookies are the biggest deal, I bet. Yeah.
It's funny, because, at the holidays, it's like there's so much like baked goods and even like store-bought stuff, but it's usually the, mother's cookies and all that really just like when you have it, it makes the holiday special. It's, it's just that it's a classic, right? It just, taps into the whole energy of family, of kind of what the whole holiday's about, rather than it just being about, going out and buying, some sweets.
Mm-hmm.
That they're made with love.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It makes a difference.
And I know that Muti is listening, and also this is my way of sucking up to her. Hopefully she's listening.
Hopefully, but she might not be. Yeah. Hi, my mom. Yeah, my mamacita. Yeah. We all have nicknames for her too. Yeah, so.
Well, that's right. You go more towards the Spanish, right?
Yeah.
It's the German.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what Scott and Amy do, but there. They just suck up, period. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I have my Astro Tarot forecast. That was one of the other things we're going to talk about. And I do them on YouTube. I do them at the beginning of the month. They're Marches out there. I think I started on the 3rd of March or something like that. And it's really interesting because, it's like once you put something out there, once you post it, it's like you don't have any control as to, if there's an equal amount of people who, of Scorpio, of Pisces, of Leo.
Yeah, you don't know who's going to tap in, huh?
Who's going to tap in, right? And it's like by far, so far, it's Pisces, right? Mm-hmm. It's like there's the views and all just so much higher than the other signs. I mean, there's, it gets spotty, but you think that, maybe someone who is a Pisces, they like share it with their Pisces friends or send it to a group or whatever. And it just like, takes on a life of its own. But I really love, doing those forecasts. They're based on, a sign, a sun sign, someone's, sign, whether it's, Pisces or Leo, Scorpio, whatever.
Right. You're doing everybody for the month like the papers used to do. It's really fun.
But I'm reading 3 cards for each sign.
Yes.
For the month, just to see like the energy around that. And it's, what's fun about it is I think when I started doing them, they'd be about 5 minutes long. And now they're, averaging about 10 minutes. One just starts to talk, right? Get going on it, and they're not like the general type of readings where it's like, oh, you're gonna make a lot of money this month and you find love this month, and they usually go into another realm, because when I read those 3 cards, it's like, one reads the cards individually, but then, like musical notes on a music page, right? It's like when you play the individual notes together, it creates a larger theme, right? It becomes something else. There's other layers. There's a relationship then between these 3 cards that one can tap into. And so it's that's kind of the process, how it's unfolded for these Astro Tarot forecasts.
Yeah. So what is Pisces this month? Can you read it? Or
what
just
is
generally
Pisces?
Talk about it?
I totally forget, because it's like
the first one you do out of the 12.
It's I think it was the first one that I did when I read it. And then, as you're reading all of them, it's like, it's kind of impossible to, remember all of them, even the specifics. Right. But some themes that were generally coming up in, you look at cards that, cause there's 78 cards in the tarot deck that I use, the Wizard's Tarot. And, and what are the chances that one card may come up for
over and over.
Over and over for all the readings, right? And one of the cards that came up was the Devil card, right? In the Wizard's Tarot, it's called the Dark Lord, but it's like the Devil card, and the Devil card is a card of control. It's a card of obsession, that type of control. That which we seek to control can end up controlling us, right? So I like to shift the perspective on it, like instead of it being kind of having that negative connotation to it, where in a more positive light, the phrase is let go and let God, right? So instead of holding on too tight to, situations or people, having to be a certain way, one lets go and lets the natural course of things, take place. And in the process, we don't lose ourselves, right? We don't lose ourselves to obsession or that kind of negative energy. But I think because it comes up in so many readings, it tends to point to more of a universal theme, like something outside of ourself that's larger, kind of taking place, and but that affects like a large group of people. So it'd be very interesting to see, this month, how that takes shape.
Oh yeah. No, that is. And let go and let God. That's a good analogy anyway. Any weird situations, dark situations, just you have to start reading what I call the signs, and I use them as shamanic signs, that if things are not going easily or there's upsets and trouble, problems, frustration, anxiousness, usually those are keys. These are, signs that you're going in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. When your life is frustrated and icky, you gotta just stop and say, okay, where's the compass? And that's not like being stubborn and not taking a risk. Some people, won't move to a place or won't risk changing.
Mm-hmm,
To whereas, we all, this, I love to point this out. We're going like so many million miles an hour, through space, the Earth. Only gravity is keeping us on this planet, stuck here. So the thing is that, we're changing no matter what. I mean, like somebody was telling me a couple days ago that we have the same configuration as another time, not too long ago, but in that configuration, I'm so deeply into geometry and astrology that it's everything would be different, because all the minutes and hours and the change of everything would just be a change,
mm-hmm.
So that you have to read it differently, even if they were a similar time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a similar set of planets aligned. Yeah,
Yes.
It's kind of interesting. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we're afraid of change, but
Yeah, I mean,
coming.
but that I mean, what you're talking about with the Earth, like, moving so fast through the universe, it's like our perspective, our I guess illusion of stability, right, is so
Right.
I mean, obviously it keeps us grounded, right? I mean, where we're not just completely, frantic, or we're just like, oh my God, we're, where we perceive that we're moving so fast. I mean, it's like, there's times where it feels like, nothing is changing, where it's just so like set. So, and that's usually, everyone kind of gets that when they show up at work at 9 in the morning, right before they've had their coffee or whatever, and it just feels like,
Yeah. So funny. Well, I only started drinking coffee a few years ago. Don't really know, why I needed to get into the habit of coffee. I never drank coffee. Yeah, all through the years. I drank a little bit of coffee when Cheyenne, had so many kids, when Cheyenne was about 1, but then I switched to green tea and never really went back to coffee. And then Willie came home from North Carolina and stayed with me for, I don't know, about 8 months or so, and my oldest son, and he loved the coffee routine in the morning, and so we loved having coffee together.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like this wonderful time that I got to, spend with my son. So it was fun. So that's where I started drinking coffee. It's kind of like, I think of that time. So I guess it's a.
Sure. Do you enjoy the taste?
Yeah, I do sometimes. Not all coffee though. I won't drink a coffee if I don't like it. Yeah. No. And I'm not like particular. I'm, some of these fluffy coffees are fine. I'm not a real Starbucks person. I don't do a lot of, routine things like, get into the Starbucks zone or that kind of thing. So they, I like my organic kind of non-acid coffee or, like Trader Joe's, like some of theirs are okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like coffee too much.
Really?
And so I really limit my intake because it takes me too high and it crashes me too low. If I'm, tea for me is like black tea or green tea, many different flavors and all that. That's like, the thing for me. But, as far as like coffee experiences, I love iced coffee. Love iced coffee.
Yeah, and not me. No ice for me.
I remember traveling in Germany, in Deutschland, and asking for ice coffee, ice coffee bitte, and so they bring you a coffee with a scoop of ice cream. Because ice.
That is funny.
Ice is like ice.
So
right?
funny, yes.
And I remember almost like getting into an argument with this one waiter. He was this uptight like German waiter, and it's like, and I'm like, can I get, just some ice cubes, in the coffee? He's like, why would you do that? Why would you destroy the taste of the coffee with ice? Why would you water it down? And it's like, dude. Anyway, so anyway, ice with ice cubes is Eiswürfel. So if you go to a Starbucks there and you say, Kaffee mit Eiswürfel, then you get iced coffee. But if you just say ice, then you get like, ice cream in it, which is like, it's not the same thing.
Hysterical.
Not the same thing.
Well, that won't be happening to me. Yeah. So, oh my God. That's funny.
You don't like it cold.
I don't like anything cold. I don't like any ice, really. It's really hard on your stomach. Actually, I think your wife says that, who's the doctor. Yeah. She does. Yes. So, yeah. So, I'm, definitely, I've never been a really nice person. I like it room temperature. And then I like, hot drinks, but I never was a big hot drink person until about 30, and then, like I said, I started then drinking because I had so many kids and I needed something.
So you started drinking? Is that what you're saying?
I drank tea.
Oh, tea.
No, I've never drank. I'm not a drinker.
Because of having kids.
Yeah. I just don't see the purpose. I see a lot of fad things.
Yeah.
What was really fun? I was watching a video the other day, and Hunter and I were just enjoying seeing. It was a Farrah Fawcett movie that came on afterwards, where she was being the little heiress or something. I don't know the sad story about some heiress, and that she was playing a serious role in.
Yeah. And
it had been on the video of the video had been taped over on some of these movies.
Yeah.
And so we were watching, it was a family video actually. And then so on the rest of the video, we were fascinated with watching this movie and all the commercials. It was a made for TV movie. And so the commercials on it were incredible. I mean, I think they were before Hunter was born probably. Oh, wow. And, and so it was all about perfume, we forgot, what did they used to advertise on television? Perfume, coffee, other things, not cars, not pharma, not even alcohol. It was really interesting to watch the commercials. We were riveted. We were riveted. Yeah, it might have been cars. There might have been a car, like a Ford commercial, but
Right.
we were riveted. It was fun. Yeah, but yeah, it was almost like a past life. Like the kids don't get to see some of that sometimes. And he's
That's
not a
right.
kid, of course, anymore. But I mean the um the younger generation sometimes doesn't know what the 60s television was like or 70s. They try to do like the ads and like YouTube videos and stuff, but it's just not the same when you're like watching this movie and all of a sudden here was all these weird commercials. It was great.
Right.
And we were enjoying the commercials as much, and actually more than the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you look back and say, oh my God, that was just like, seems like it was a million years ago, but you remember it, but it was just like another lifetime.
Kind of. I was never a big TV person, as Jason knows. I never. They would, come home from school and watch Star Trek, and you couldn't get me to like watch a series of anything. But and then Jason went on. It was more than just being interested in Star Trek. He did a Star Trek spoof that went to all the Star Trek conventions. They would open with that Star Trek spoof. It's a great Star Trek spoof. It is called Grease Trek. Grease, Trek, Trek. And do you have it up on any of your YouTubes, or is it Michael who does that?
If you go to like YouTube, you can look at just snippets of it. I don't have the entire movie up. That's if one wants the entire movie, they can purchase it. But yeah, it's funny because I'm sure mom and dad were like, it's like, stop watching so much TV, and
we were in Alaska. It's really hard when it's snowing 10 feet outside to not do something inside.
Well, either you go outside and you love the snow, or you stay indoors, which I was more that person, I think, where I instead of like being in the extreme cold, I would rather curl up to the warm TV. And I think they were really warm too at that time in the 70s. They were they were putting off radiation and heat. That we could stay warm too.
Oh my
God.
Like, oh my God. But I mean, we had to walk to school too. I mean, walking to school was in hip deep snow if we hadn't take the shortcuts. So yeah. No, I mean, we do have all those stories that, make our kids' heads curl.
Yeah, to like there are somewhat of horror stories, as far as our growing up in Alaska, but
well, and then I worked on the Alaska pipeline, and that one of my friends just put up a picture of the plane, and we used to land on gravel, a full jet.
What?
An Alaska Airlines jet. It was before Alaska Airlines was popular.
Yeah.
And those jets, that you see at the airport every day, we landed on gravel and ice in the wintertime, and they paid us to fly the plane. We did not have a ticket where we paid to go on the airline. They paid us. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, but it's gravel. I should put it up so everybody can see it because it is intense. It's intense. And we landed in a place called Dead Horse. And then, it was nothing. There was nothing out there. There was like one little building and they bring, the van would come pick us up, and they were dirt roads that were kind of piled up because of the tundra. These roads were kind of packed with dirt and in gravel, and so every screw was loose on every vehicle because we'd get a fleet in of really great new vehicles, and then in no time every screw was loose because so everything rattled. It was just like
just as long as everything was intact on the plane.
Yeah.
There were no screws loose on the plane.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. It was, it was a big deal, coming down on that gravel, but I was young. I didn't think anything about it really, other than it was a great crew and they handled it.
Yeah.
And there was nothing else around, so even if we slid around a little bit or something, it was no big deal.
I'm glad you can laugh about it. That's all I can say.
Right. Well, we would sit, and me and one of my best friends, Patty Raymond, we would always sit in the back of the plane. If we were flying together, we'd sit in the back of the plane, like the end seat, because that they say that's the safest. So we go all the way to back. Wow. But we just figured, if anything happened, they'd be able to go down pretty easily. As far as they were safety conscious, and the fact of we there's a lot of places to land as far as just open country.
Apparently so.
I mean, maybe I'm just optimistic, huh?
But still a jet.
Boy, Sarah, you're just like, okay.
Still
yeah.
A jet.
Yeah. A lot of mountains too. Yeah. Yeah. But no, I mean, it was great.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was 400 miles just to Fairbanks, to the Brooks Range, which are the highest mountains in North America. And so they look like little tiny mountains way in the distance on a clear day. Yeah. But, up in the tundra there above the Arctic Circle. But yeah, it was a life.
So speaking of flying.
Yes, I am leaving. Yes, I am going to New Zealand and Australia for 5.5 weeks. So there is going to be some great seminars down in New Zealand and Australia. I am working.
What types of seminars?
Yeah, well, so far, I'm taking private sessions too, and then my clients, they can get me through Skype, so that I don't have to ignore my regular clients as well.
And this is a return for you, right? This is like you've been to New Zealand, and so you have like good friends there. You've got people that you've worked with in the past with.
Right, and then my fan base too in Australia. I've had so many amazing times in Australia working down there as well. And I haven't worked in Australia for a while, so it's going to be really fun. I am working well, let me tell you the New Zealand seminars.
Say his name first.
Say it.
Because I love when you say his name.
Yununde Wui Wadi. I say I'm getting better at saying it faster, and I used to always trip over it. Jason loved it.
What is it? What's his name?
Wui Wadi. And if you've ever been in the Outback, there's all sorts of weird names. It's very tribal out and Aborigine names in all these towns. Yeah, so that's pretty funny and fun.
So Anunde Wee Wadi?
Yanunda Wui Wadi.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's a shaman that Jason knows that I met now it's been 10 or 12 years ago. And I had a shamanic experience. I went out into the Outback and I knew that I would meet a holy person or go to a holy place because of this shamanic dream. I was very reluctant because, going out into the Outback is a lot of work. And I went out with and the Aborigine people actually don't mingle a lot with everybody. And so I just thought it was really odd. The one Aborigine in Byron Bay at the time, he was doing helping people make didgeridoos. And so I signed Cheyenne up for making a didgeridoo with him. And he had her and 2 German guys. And then I had been in the shamanic dream. This shaman, this Aborigine shaman had come to me. I was already out in the Outback pretty far. I had taken Cheyenne out on this trip. And so I was pretty far out and next to, you see Ayers Rock. It was a smaller mountain, but it was called Mount Sumir. And it is a holy mountain by the Aborigine. And I didn't know it at the time at all, but this sheep herder that we stayed in the sheep herder's farm. And so they told me that it was a sacred mountain, but I'd had a dream, and it was like, oh yeah, of course it's a sacred mountain, because I'd had this dream where this Aborigine shaman had come and made a circle in the sand and pointed me further west into the outback. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, I can't go further west. This is far.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
And, so when I went on this tour, and then when it was a kids tour, and, they would do all sorts of wild stuff. I mean, you know, like you hear about all the ghouly stuff of, Australia, but we did it all. You know, I rode horses in rivers and, with my bathing suit, and, you know, they would say, I'd say, how far? I'd say, there's no crocodiles in this river, right? And they'd say, the crocodiles are in Queensland. Well, Queensland was only like 5 miles away. You know, does that mean that they just don't come down to this river? I mean, you know, what does that mean really? Yeah, it was just stuff like that, you know. It's like, oh my God. But I did it, you know, and, swimming, skinny dipping, you know, they were wild. They were wild. Mm-hmm. In these, way out in the middle of nowhere. They didn't care about spiders or snakes or anything. Everybody's making enough noise. They didn't care.
Yeah.
So it was that sort of thing. But kids, you know, they were all of ages about 28 down, maybe. People like if they were on their honeymoon and stuff. But Cheyenne was going through a very hard time in her life then. And, I was actually going through a very hard time. And, so anyway, I met this Aborigine guy, and, he helped her with, her making a didge. And he asked me one day if I wanted to go out into the outback for 500, Australian dollars and he had just bought a car for $500. And so I think he was trying to make up the money for his new vehicle, which was an old vehicle. Didn't have air conditioning. It was summertime, so it's 110 to 115 degrees. My God. And he's wanting, and so there's no air conditioning, but he's asking if we'd like to go out into the outback. And so, I knew I had to go, that I would be meeting a holy person or going to a holy place. And sure enough, you know, I met, Yununda, and he is, groomed to be the next great shaman of all of Australia. So, yes. And fantastic. So, yes, it was such a journey. So you just being in his presence, I believe, changes your destiny. And, he's just so powerful, and he doesn't even try to be powerful. You know, he's a really cool guy. Sure. But he's definitely a chosen person to be, a part of this, shamanic journey.
Where can people like find out more info about the seminar?
Yeah, well, you can write, and to Jules, JULES, Bonny, BONNY, at iCloud.com, and you can, inquire about the seminar there.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Thanks for having me on, Tara.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Okay, JasonDMcKean.com, TaraSutphen.com. Anyway, thank you, Jason, for being on the show. You're always
absolutely wonderful. Love you.
Okay, love you. Blessings and love, everyone. Happy full moon.
Thank you for sharing your time with Tara Sutphen. Find out more about Tara's work, upcoming seminars, and meditations to help you fulfill your dreams by visiting her website at TaraSutphen.com.